Hi everybody, here's what's coming up tonight on Now. The CDC confirms that more than 20 people in our state have died because of the flu this season. We'll have a doctor in studio to talk about that, answer your questions.
Plus, Central Maine Power releases how much that windstorm cost us. Will we be footing the bill?
And we'll meet a Maine woman who's on her way to the Olympics to compete for a gold medal, but she won't be playing a sport. We'll tell you about that.
This is News Center Now.
News Center Now, everybody. I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Lindsay Mills. Since the windstorm in late October, we've received hundreds of comments and messages like this. I think CMP has already recovered a big chunk of storm recovery costs from the looks of my electric bill over the last 3 months.
Yeah, in other words, customers just think CMP is secretly raising rates and charging them more for their electric. Christina Rex set out to verify if this is in fact true. Hey, K-Rex.
Hey guys, Lee and Lindsay. Yesterday, CMP announced it is applying to the Public Utilities Commission to raise its rates come July. For about an extra $1.30 per month, CMP says it can recover from $13 million worth of damages from that windstorm. Many people aren't buying that though, and they wonder, has CMP been sneakily charging them extra since that storm?
No, CMP rates have not changed at all since before the storm that happened in late October, early November.
Spokesperson Gail Rice says there have been absolutely no rate increases to cover storm costs yet. She proved it by showing 3 electric bills for a middle-aged couple in a small home for November, December, and January. Each one shows a rate of $10.68 for the first 50 kilowatts and around 7 cents for each kilowatt after, with no CMP rate increase.
Again, $10.68 for the first 50.
There was, however, a small increase that Rice says was out of CMP's hands. There are 2 charges on an electric bill, one for the delivery, which comes from CMP. The other charge is for the supply of electricity itself, the standard offer, which has raised its rates from 6.6 cents per kilowatt to 7.9 cents per kilowatt. That increase started on January 1st.
We have no stake in that. We don't get any revenue out of that. It's simply a pass-through that shows up on our bill.
So there is a slight rate increase, about a penny, but it is not from CMP and has nothing to do with the windstorm. Rice says there are other explanations for a pricier bill.
People are spending more time at home indoors. They may have holiday lights that they're using.
She also cited more cooking or the long cold snap over the new year. We told Gail about your concerns. Melissa wrote on Facebook, CMP has a monopoly, so they can do whatever they want and people have no choice but to pay the bill.
We cannot do whatever we want. We are very heavily regulated. The Public Utilities Commission regulates every aspect of our operations.
Matthew wrote, CMP is deceptive in their billing practices and should be held accountable.
There's no truth to that allegation, and I wish I knew where that came from or why he would say that, because, you know, we strive to be very open and transparent in everything we do, and we really do strive to keep our bills as low and as accurate as we possibly can.
The PUC is now reviewing CMP's request to increase rates come July. Gail said the company has also pledged that any money saved by CMP because of the new tax legislation will be passed directly to the customers. Lee and Lindsay.
All right, K-Rex, thanks so much. And today we know a bit more about how Amerimaine will be recouping those storm losses. A spokesperson says the overall cost of the October windstorm was $8.7 million. The utility company asked the PUC for permission to recover $7.3 million of that in rate increases. They did not say what that rate increase would be for the average customer.
All right, weekend might be a little bit cloudy, but definitely not a total loss. I saw some big numbers over in the weather office.
Yeah, no, I think it's actually pretty nice. The temperatures will make up for it in a lot of spots in the 40s. Right now, quite a bit of cloud cover out there. It started off decent enough, but the clouds rolled in relatively quickly. A couple of snow showers out there as well. And I think we'll see a few more flurries this evening as a warm front lifts through the area, and that warm front will give us those snow showers and a little light snow over northern Maine. But there will also, of course, will bring us the warmer conditions. We'll talk more about that in a second. Right now, temperatures in the 30s in Portland and Sanford. Most of us are in the 20s. We're in for a chilly night, but nothing unseasonably so, with most of us ending up in the 20s along the coast, and then the teens in places like Freiburg, setting up for a decent day on Saturday. So hour-by-hour forecast showing you some early snow showers on Saturday morning over northern Maine particularly, but watch what happens by Saturday afternoon. We clear out and push into the mid and in some places upper 40s under a good deal of sunshine. Interesting note, guys, this warm up here will not melt snow nearly as fast as the last one did because we won't have fog or rain to go with it. So the snow will largely stick around, but it will be pleasant, which means everybody wins.
There you go. All we do is win, 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 no matter what.
Exactly. Good song.
All right, new numbers from the Maine CDC about the spreading of the flu. 21 people have died from the virus. More than 320 people have been hospitalized this season. That's in Maine. Compare that to this time last year when there were just 2 deaths. All of the flu deaths have occurred in people 55 years or older.
The concern about the virus has prompted Catholic churches to make changes, temporarily halting rituals like shaking hands as a sign of peace, sharing wine for communion, and receiving communion bread on the tongue. It's the first time since the H1N1 scare in 2009 that the Portland Diocese has implemented these protocols.
Of course, if you're sick, the Sunday Mass obligation is lifted, so we ask people who are sick not to come to Mass.
So this year, right now, appears to be a predominantly influenza A H3 season, which tends to be more severe, and it tends to affect the elderly more than younger individuals, which means we see more hospitalizations and we see more deaths.
Now, last year there were 71 influenza deaths in the state. This year the season has started earlier and the flu shot is about 30% effective. Doctors at the Maine CDC still recommend people get the vaccine.
All right, to find out what else doctors recommend, we are joined by Dr. Dora Mills to take some of your questions and answer some of our questions as well. So obviously the thing that jumped off the page from the first part of that story was all the fatalities 55 and over. So is this something everybody should be worried about? Is this something that specific age groups should be worried about and predisposed conditions? Like, how does this work?
No, absolutely. You know, there's no such thing really as a mild flu season. Every flu season, has a strong impact on our public health. But as you mentioned, I mean, this year is a bit worse than usual, and particularly people 65 and older, pregnant women, younger people younger than 65 with any kind of chronic condition, including severe obesity, excuse me, including and diabetes, heart disease, asthma, neurological conditions and the like, and young children. So there aren't many people who aren't at risk to some degree, you know?
Right.
And so, but the vaccine is recommended for everyone. 'Cause even if you aren't in one of those high-risk categories, you are around somebody who's in a high-risk category.
Well, and I was going to ask you that too. So let's say somebody in your home
Yes.
has the flu. Does that mean, I mean, you're the one maybe taking care of that person or around that person. Does that mean you're going to get it too? I mean, how does that work?
Well, you need to be very careful, and we all need to be careful because you have to assume that there are a lot of people who are coming down with influenza who may be, you know, shedding the virus. Because even the day or two before you get sick, you're shedding the virus, and then after you even get better, sometimes you're shedding a bit of the virus. So, for instance, even doorknobs and things like that can hold the virus live for 2 to 8 hours. So you want to be careful no matter what. Wash your hands very frequently. Don't touch your face. The most common way people contract influenza is you have it on your hands from touching a doorknob or something like that, and then you touch your face, and the virus enters through your eyes, your nose, your mouth. So if you've been touching anything like a doorknob or other people, then keep your hands away from your face. Wash your hands before you do touch your face. Stay home if you're sick.
Sure.
And so if you're taking care of people, also be very careful and be aware that any secretions that they may have, so anything that's wet and that's not yours, like nasal secretions or whatever,
Stay
just
away.
assume it's contagious.
Okay.
So wash your hands frequently, particularly if you're taking care of people. Cover your sneezes, your coughs, make sure they're covering theirs. And taking those simple precautions, but also getting a vaccine. It's not too late. That will help protect you, even though the vaccine is not as good a match as it usually is.
Can you stick around and answer some questions during our commercial break? Okay, great. We'll
Thank
do
you
that
so
in
much.
just a minute. Thank you. So while many doctors are focused on the flu season, there is one doctor from Maine who's keeping her athletes healthy and ready for the upcoming Olympic Games. We will meet her coming up. Coming up tonight on 207, when you go into a restaurant, what do you pay attention to? Obviously the food and the service, but do you pay attention to the atmosphere? We're going to talk to a Mainer who helps design restaurants. And a celebration of Winter Kids on 207. Tomorrow marks 1 year since Donald Trump was sworn in as the 45th President of the United States. During his first year in office, President Trump has delivered on some of his major campaign promises. His first major legislative accomplishment was the $1.5 trillion tax bill signed last month. Other pledges are still works in progress.
One day after the inauguration, the Women's March movement dominated the news cycle. Women all over the world stood together to protest the Trump administration and to support equal rights. This weekend, several marches are planned in Maine to mark that 1 year anniversary. News Center's Tennyson Coleman talked to some women who organized demonstrations this weekend. They say many women have been invigorated to create change.
1 year ago, women all over the world bonded together and made their voices heard. This weekend, they're back at it.
We are energizing people. We are encouraging them.
Last year, millions of people joined the Women's March worldwide. And in Maine, an estimated 20,000 people rallied together. Stacey Leafsong was one of them.
What we're about is what we're for. We're for human rights. We're for the welfare of all beings and the planet.
Leafsong was so inspired by last year's march that she organized one in Bangor this weekend to commemorate the 1 year anniversary. It's one of several marches happening in Maine Saturday.
We in Mid and North Maine need a voice.
Jennifer Jones attended last year's march in Washington. She's planned this weekend's march in Augusta. Her group, March 4th Maine, is calling it the Women's March 2.0, Power to the Polls.
Getting involved is better for our society, it's better for the community, it's better for the state, it's better for the planet.
The Women's March sparked a movement, but some wonder what has been accomplished. Supporters say one big accomplishment is that more women have become involved in politics. Emerge Maine, an organization that trains Democratic women to run for office, says they've seen an increase in applications.
We were going through our application process for the class that started last March, had twice as many applicants than it had in previous years. We are seeing unprecedented numbers of women stepping forward to run this year.
We are fighting for all people to have equal representation in government through their vote and their voice.
This weekend, a chance for supporters to keep the spark alive. For News Center Maine, I'm Tennyson Coleman.
President Trump became the first sitting president to speak at the March for Life rally in Washington, D.C. today. In a Rose Garden speech, President Trump said he was honored to speak to the anti-abortion activists. His speech was broadcast live so that marchers could see it from their gathering on the National Mall. The president declared that he was with the marchers all the way and would always defend the right to life. Still to come.
However, I've been a wannabe hockey player my whole life, so when this opportunity came up, it was perfect.
Coming up on Now, how this Maine woman will be representing the Stars and Stripes at next month's Winter Games.
That's awesome. Can't wait for that. And can we look forward to a mild weekend? Snowstorm, is that also on the way? Keith Carson has his full forecast coming up. Opening ceremony for the Olympic Games is scheduled for 3 weeks from today.
And when that day gets here, a doctor who practices in South Portland at Intermed will be walking into the stadium wearing the red, white, and blue. Dr. Allison Howe remembers when she had her first taste of representing her country very clearly. While in the Air Force, Howe, who was in the medical program, got to work with the United States boxing team as it prepared for the Olympic trials.
And I realized, wearing USA in any manner just felt so right. It felt like you're part of something much bigger than what you ever had been, and it felt, like it really kind of lit the fire of patriotism for me and started that dream.
Her pursuit of patriotism and medicine led to a career in sports medicine. After the Winter Olympic Games in 2014, Dr. Howe was named the head team physician for the women's national hockey team.
There's nothing like the Olympic stage. Like, even as an athlete growing up, I can remember thinking, I want to go to the Olympics someday to play soccer or basketball. Or honestly, I had a dream of playing hockey when I was a kid too. Never thought about the fact that a doctor goes. So to know that there's this whole other way to get there. I was really pumped.
Dr. Howe has been with the team for all international competitions over the last 4 years, but her proudest moment did not involve any medals or on-ice achievements. It was the off-ice goal of gaining equality for the women's team that is closest to her heart.
But that was a huge sacrifice for them to give up essentially their Stanley Cup, because that's the only real competitive event that they get to continue to play in. Watching that all play out and then going to the actual World Championships and having them fulfill that dream of winning a gold medal, specifically at that time, there was just nothing better.
And Dr. Howe will be spending a lot of time with Casey Bellamy. Bellamy graduated from UNH in 2009 and will be competing in her 3rd Winter Games, this time as one of the hockey team's assistant captains.
So cool to watch. Daring High School's football coach was fired earlier this week, and it has caused kind of a public outcry in that community. Jason Jackson was let go because of what he says is one isolated parent complaining.
Social media exploded with people lobbying for the coach to stay, and an online petition has just under 1,100 signatures. But the greater number of supporters overshadowed by the smaller number of protesters, and that, according to Jackson, is part of a much bigger problem.
The reason the lesser is defeating, the bigger now is just who holds certain cards. If someone holds a card that's going to affect the machine's going to go ahead and let that person, they're going to let that person win. It's been proven. I mean, if you go around state to state, you got a ton of these stories.
Daring High School has referred to this as a personnel matter. Coming up on Monday on News Center, we will dive deeper into this multi-layered topic. How much parent involvement is too much when it comes to high school sports, and what can be done to protect coaches? That story coming up Monday on Now.
I'm sure this is going to get a lot of people talking on Facebook about this topic.
Like an onion, a lot of layers to it. So.
A lot of
Donkeys
layers.
have layers, you know.
Hey, I got to shed some layers today. It was nice enough out there for that. I felt like at times I didn't really need the bulky coat.
You're really getting into the main life quickly. You had your windows down when it was like 35. Today was 32. You're taking layers off. I like it this weekend in the 40s. So pretty mild by our standards. You can see where that warm air is coming from. Nashville 48, 53. Atlanta. They've been in a deep plunge down that way as well, and all this more mild, warmer air will advect in here tonight, and you'll feel it during the day tomorrow. Again, temperatures in the 40s, pretty widespread. We do have a couple of snow showers associated with that warm front passage, so an isolated flurry tonight would not shock me, particularly across northern Maine, where they might see a little bit more concentrated snow shower activity. Here we are in the morning tomorrow, and you can see some of those snow showers across the northern third of the state. But after that, we start to clear out. It looks like tomorrow afternoon is beautiful. Look at 2 o'clock, 45 in Portland, 45 in Sanford, 43 in Augusta, and a good deal of sunshine in all of those spots. A little bit cooler in the mountains as you'd anticipate, but still pleasant enough in the mid and upper 30s. Cool back down on Sunday morning, and then Sunday looks like a mostly cloudy day with temperatures a little bit cooler than Saturday, but overall still above average. Here tomorrow's high temperatures, 46 in Portland, 42 in Rockland, 42 in Augusta, a little bit cooler to the north, but a huge contrast in temperatures on Sunday. All right, here's our next storm system. It moves in on Monday night as a bit of snow pretty much statewide. It starts to snow Monday evening, Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning's commute could be tricky depending on the timing. Computer models battling it out a little bit as to how much cold air will stay in this system. It does appear, though, that the coast will change over to rain during the day on Tuesday, and the battle will be across the interior and mountains between rain and snow, and even they may eventually change over to rain in the mountains by Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday night before this storm moves out on Wednesday morning. One thing to watch here, guys, it is going to rain a decent amount. So rainfall amounts over 1.5 inches. When you think about those ice jams that are happening right now, that is going to be a big problem, kind of pushing that ice down the road. Watch that. After that, it's quiet Thursday and Friday. At this point, looks like not this weekend, but the weekend after looks mild as well. So a pattern loosening up. We just have to watch Monday night and Tuesday.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Well, let's check in with Katie Ortiz for today's Social Stop. Another
Another day, another response, and plan of action from a major company after loads of criticism. I'm Katie Ortiz with your Social Stop. Now, last week we told you about YouTube star Logan Paul causing a wave of outrage from the public. He posted a disturbing video in what is called Suicide Forest in Japan. There was a body behind him, and YouTube got heat for being way too slow in responding. Now, tonight, they're promising advertisers they are implementing an aggressive approach to be better. BuzzFeed reports they're creating a, quote, intelligence desk, an early detection initiative to try and weed out controversial content before it becomes a problem. Now, they say it will rely on data from Google, trends on social media, user reports, and third-party consultants. The intelligence desk was described in an advertiser briefing, which BuzzFeed got a hold of. And YouTube is also cracking down on an incredibly stupid, not to mention potentially deadly, viral challenge. Yeah, I'm talking about those Tide Pod videos where teens are actually recording themselves eating them. And spoiler alert, you guys, it's not a good look. And now YouTube pledges to remove your Tide Pod challenge videos should you try to upload them. Why? They say its community guidelines prohibit content that encourages dangerous activities that have a risk of causing physical harm, because Tide Pods are not healthy and because it's stupid. Now, I'm going to let Gronk, an official spokesperson for Tide detergent, play us out.
No, 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 no. No, no, no. No. What the heck is going on, people? Use Tide Pods for washing, not eating.
You heard it from the man himself, not eating. Lindsay and Lee.
If Gronk tells me to jump, I say how high.
Yeah, and I'm with him. No, 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 no,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, man. All right, let's check in with Cindy Williams, who has a look at the headlines from News Center Maine at 5:30. Hey, Cindy.
You do have to love Gronk. In just 2 days, 9 people have fallen through thin ice on snowmobiles. What the heck is going on? Thankfully, everybody survived to tell their tale. And that's in no small part to the fast work of first responders. We're going to have that story just ahead. Also, a Patriots win is good for team spirit, but it is also good business. We're going to break down the numbers of a New England playoff bid. That's all coming up at 5:30. Back to you.
All right, Cindy, thanks so much. And we will be right back.
All right, this one is a pretty straightforward brain trust, but I thought it was interesting. I saw this tweet in which there's a new subsonic record for a commercial plane going from New York City to London. Did it in 5 hours and 13 minutes. So this doesn't include the Concorde, of course, because that was years ago and they did it at hypersonic speed. So how did this happen? Jetstream, Jetstream, Jetstream. So you will notice if you fly to California, it will always take you longer to go from east to west than it does to come back. And that is because the Jetstream is moving from west to east. And the Jetstream that particular day, hopefully we have this graphic, is absolutely screaming basically right from New York to London. And so that, see that red streak? That's the path they took. It just so happened it was with the Jetstream, which is a tailwind, and it pushed them to record speeds. Bring back the Concorde, though. I know that's expensive. They did it in 3 hours and 15 minutes.
All you need is a good tailwind, and you are all set.
Life is like that, too.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah, that jet set life. All right, Keith, thanks so much. News Center Maine at 5:30 starts now.